at this time, we're going to go on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Patrick O'Leary, and he is the Canada Director. So if you don't notice, Canada Director means this is an international or agency, or you'll hear a lot more about it, from Talent Beyond Borders. And he is going to be speaking on refugee talent pools. So it's definitely an under-accessed talent pool that most people in Southwestern Ontario aren't accessing. So I'm really excited to have Patrick share some of the work that he's doing.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to share my screen now. So just bear with me. So just by way of a quick introduction of myself before I share this video, my name is Patrick O'Leary, and as referenced, I'm the Canada Director at Talent Beyond Boundaries. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk with you all. I will try and be as succinct as I can. I can often talk at length about our program, what we do, but I'll keep myself at a stopwatch. But I'm going to start just by sharing a quick 90-second video, because I think it sometimes articulates our program better than I can. So.
What if we could help millions of refugees and displaced people simply by recognizing their skills? Growing up in a refugee camp, I knew I was surrounded by skilled and capable people who wanted to use their skills to support themselves and live a life of dignity. Unfortunately, many displaced people don't have the right to work locally, and the systems that govern global recruitment and travel for work are near impossible for refugees to access. Talent Beyond Boundaries is the first organisation dedicated to bridging the gaps in the system. We help skilled refugees connect with global employers, harnessing the concept of labour mobility to forge a complementary pathway out of displacement. I'm part of a team of experts working to make this happen.
It's like someone in deep wall and you throw rope for him.
By my work, I can help Canada to improve.
I will not worry about my son's future anymore.
In terms of impact, we've only just scratched the surface. Labour mobility could be a solution for more than 1 million people over the next decade. Let's create a world where refugees and other displaced people can leverage their own professional skills to secure their own futures.
The minute I set foot on that plane, I actually dare to start dreaming again.
So the video actually, I play it, a couple of times a month, but it does make me emotional every time I see some of those candidates. The most recent one on there is Mariam, one of the nurses, and just a short story about her. We met her at Talent Beyond Boundaries about 2.5 to 3 years ago. Her English level for the job position she was put forward for, it didn't quite meet the level it needed to. So she went away. She's in Lebanon with her family in a refugee camp, had her second child, came back, and we got to greet them at the airport in June this year. A testament to some of the wonderful candidates that we have in our talent pool. So I'm going to kind of fast forward a little bit. We're all aware there is a huge unmet talent gap, not only in Canada, but around the world. But what we're not looking at is displaced talent. Refugees don't seem to be considered, when we're in the discussion, when we're talking about this. Their skills, in short, are being wasted. Displaced talent of working age is approximately 12.7 million people in the world. So employers need skilled employees, skilled workers need a secure future, and communities need population growth. There are 3 key things that, as we are forming Talent Beyond Boundaries. So Talent Beyond Boundaries was formed in 2016 with a simple vision to build a world where displaced people can leverage their skills and move to secure their futures. We make it easy for employers to access our untapped pool of skilled talent and grow their teams. To date, we have programs in Canada, the UK, and Australia, and we'll be expanding into the US next year. We've created over 330 durable solutions for refugees to date. The program in Canada, as it stands, is called the Economic Mobility Pathway Pilot. The Canadian government have agreed to bring in to 500 skilled refugees under labour mobility pathways. We believe that number will be increased soon as well, but Canada is leading the way there. Both the UK and Australia have similar programs, but not quite the numbers that Canada is doing. How does it work? We currently have, and this number is was of last week, as of yesterday, I checked, we have 34,000 skilled refugees in our talent catalogue. And you can see that that's from trade workers to engineers, teachers, that tech professionals is a lot higher now, accountants. It's rare that I have an employer who comes to us and says, we're looking for this and we don't have talent in this pool. That 34,000 is predominantly refugees who are Syrian, Palestinian, and based in either Jordan or Lebanon. As we grow as an organization, we will be expanding our source countries over the coming years, and looking to work with other partner organizations in Latin America and also Southeast Asia. So that number of 34,000 is just continually growing. We also have over 1,000 Afghan refugees in our talent catalogue as well. So we're working with employers to job match them as well. The process, like how does it work? It's fairly simple. Employers come to us and say, we have this role. We're looking for a software engineer. So they provide a job description to Talent Beyond Boundaries. We then work with them on the recruitment side. We have a team in the Middle East of over 15 staff members now who we'll send them the job description and the profile for what the employers are looking for. We will then do a talent search in our catalogue. We'll then find, hopefully, some good candidates to present to the employer. The employer will then vet the candidates, and if they're happy with the profiles, we will work to facilitate interviews, just like any normal recruitment process. We have lots of volunteers who we work with and help our candidates in the Middle East doing prep interviews and mock interviews. So the candidates will be ready. We'll make sure they have laptops and they have Wi-Fi, and they can interview with you. We hope at the end of the interview process, there's a job offers. That's always the goal. The candidate will then have an informed decision-making session with TBB where we walk through the job offer that the employer has given and what life's like in Canada, how cold it is, all the things that candidates need to be aware of. Once a job offer is accepted, we start the visa application process. So we work with an immigration provider, and the candidates come into Canada under permanent residency pathways to date. So it's really important to flag that once they've landed in Canada, they're not coming in under humanitarian and the resettlement traditional pathways. They're coming in under economic pathways, and they have permanent residency upon landing. Once the candidates have landed, we also work with employers to do settlement as well. We work with private sponsorship groups. We work with relocation companies, different settlement services as well. So it will depend on where the candidate is, where they've landed. We're very hands-on with TBB, and the employers today have been terrific in also being part of that journey. So that's it in a nutshell. Really, the last thing I would my parting words would be, employers often ask, why should we be doing this? And I think it's simple. It's a smart thing to do, but it's also the right thing to do. There is this untapped talent pool, and really, it feels that we're at this really interesting moment where a switch has come on, and employers really now are coming to us and saying, why haven't we considered these candidates before? So it's a fantastic program, and if anyone is interested, I'd be happily take questions now, but also please do feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you so much for sharing, Patrick. At this time, if we would welcome any questions from the audience, so make sure you are filling that question panel on your right side of your screen. Patrick, so it's really nice to hear this is happening, and it's interesting to see that you now have a few Afghan individuals in your repertoire. How do you work on the ground level in those countries that are actively experiencing war or some sort of uneasy situations? Do you have people in those countries as well?
Yeah, so I mean, the majority of our candidates of the 34,000 are in Lebanon and Jordan. That's where our teams are. So we have dedicated teams on the ground, and it's really important that they're there and they work with the candidates, not only in the job matching process, but also for some candidates, if their English level isn't where it needs to be, we do capacity building with them, upskilling. So there's a lot of focus of our teams in that region. As we grow, we're looking to really extend our partnership with other organizations who are doing this in other regions in the world. So for example, in Latin America, we'll be meeting with partners who are doing that as well, showing them the TBB model and how we do it. And hopefully, the goal really for us is to replicate this as much as we can. With regards specifically to Afghanistan, it's certainly very tricky because so many of the refugees have dispersed into so many different countries. So we're at the point where we're trying to work out who can help us, but we can at least get the candidates registered, even if we're not on the ground, onto the talent catalogue and communicate with them.
Thank you so much. I think one of the interesting pieces about this project is that you are not working with people already settled in Canada. So can you give a little bit more information about how long that process takes from the interview? And I know that every situation will be quite different, but how long does it take from when you first meet the candidate to when they can actually start coming and settling in Canada and working?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I referenced, we're not using work permits at the moment to bring candidates here, just because on landing, they're then under a temporary status. So for us, it's really important that there is that sense of permanency for them. So mostly it's the PMP programs in the different provinces, and the processing time is 6 to 9 months from once the job offer goes out. What I would say is that we have a very good relationship with our contacts at government. We're speaking to the minister's office, and we're trying as best as we can to reduce that processing time. What we would like to see is anywhere in the 5-month region. But as anyone who knows, a 6 to 9 month processing time for permanent residency outside of Canada is still an expedited timeline. So we're continuously having wins with the program on our advocacy front, but we still have a little way to go.
Absolutely. One of the concerns that has been addressed in some of the presentations earlier today is the issues around housing, and Canada is seeing housing shortages. So do you provide supports with the people that come into Canada through this program in finding housing, or is that something that the employer is doing, or just a little bit more details on that?
Yeah, sure. So really it's going to depend on the employer, but as we're growing now, we're working with more corporate employers as well. So they have relocation companies that they work with. So if that's what they do and they have people do housing, we connect with them. For smaller employers who may not have that, what we're doing is tapping into private sponsorship groups who have been a fantastic resource for us, settlement agencies. So we have a checklist, a settlement checklist, and we're not the experts at TVB, but we know what needs to be done and who to connect with. And we make sure that that's front of mind. And once the candidates have landed, really, we stay connected with them at least for the first 6 months. And then we have monthly check-ins with them after that.
Great. People are interested in how this project is funded.
So we're philanthropically funded, and we receive donations and grants. We are always open for additional assistance from employers. So we don't charge employers. There's no recruitment fee for working with TBB, but some employers will make a donation to us. We are a registered charity.
Great. And another question here is, oftentimes when you're working with refugees, do you ever have clients that have disabilities, and how do you support them? And specifically, not only disabilities, but mental health can be included into that as well.
Yeah, so I think we haven't had mental health specifically. As when the candidates land and when we're working with the private sponsorship groups, we're closely connected with the Canadian Centre for Victims of Torture, and we know in certain communities and areas where to signpost them to. So again, that kind of comes in at that part where when we know where the candidate is going, we will connect with the local settlement agency or the private sponsorship group, and we go through that checklist. And it's a needs assessment as well. If we know that candidates come in, they have a disability, or one of their family members do, we will prepare for that and connect them to the right people.
Great, thank you so much. It sounds like you do a lot of work that is helping a lot of people, not just the refugees that you're bringing in, but also some employers that are looking to fill some gaps. So thank you so much for all your efforts.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me today.